and welcome to Follow Your Heart here on the Natural Parent Magazine. I'm Cullen. Today I'm talking about sleep, and in particular how to get babies to sleep at daycare or with another carer, in particular if they're used to mum putting them to sleep and possibly breastfed off to sleep. A lot of mums worry about this, especially if they have to go back to work and it doesn't really feel like an option. Baby has to go to the carers so that they can get back to work, or because they want to go back to work. And some people, it's just a choice to get your time alone. So if this is you, I hope you'll find this video helpful, but please comment, message me. I'd love to know what you think, if you still have questions, and, are you a parent that's experienced this? First of all, I want to say that we need to be mindful of who's looking after our children when we need someone else to watch them. And I know most of you listening will be very, very concerned about who is doing this. But, if you are choosing carers or a center or whatever, ask them what they normally do around sleep. So if there's a big center, they might not be as flexible with your baby or child as you feel comfortable with. So it's very important that you feel comfortable with what they're doing. And don't necessarily pick a place that doesn't align with what you want for your child. So if what you want is for your child to be responded to and cuddled off to sleep or whatever you want for them, then do your best to find a place that meets your needs for your child and that ultimately meets your child's needs. So sometimes this is an at-home caregiving situation. It might be a one-on-one, or it might be somebody that does in-home caregiving with just a few children. Here in New Zealand, we have the requirement that it's a 1-to-4 ratio for under 5s. So if you choose those kinds of caregiving situations, they tend to be a little bit more able to respond to your child when your child needs something. Sometimes there's less flexibility in big centers, but really make sure that, if your baby is going to be comfortable being held or, perhaps in a carrier for some of their sleeps, is your caregiver open to this and able to do that for your baby? And another thing is, what do they feel about responding to them or sleep cycles? What is their understanding of baby's normal sleep patterns? If they have a very regimented idea of when babies should sleep and for how long, do all the babies need to sleep at the same time so that there's 1 or 2 different nap times? That might not work for your baby. So look at, do they require babies to nap on a schedule, or do they allow babies and children to rest and sleep when they need to, for how long they need to? So super, super important. That's the very, very first thing. If your child is already in a center and you're not happy with how things are going, I really encourage you to shop around some more. And of course, we all have different options, but some of us more than others, and your budget could dictate where your child can go. There's all kinds of considerations, so I do understand that, but the more open and honest you're able to be with them, if you're overall happy but this is a big worry for you, let them know. They don't want you to go away feeling worried every day. They want you to feel really comfortable. So if you're concerned, or if you're still wondering, have I made the right decision? How is it really going for my baby? Tell them you need them to really report to you, let you know what exactly is happening. Maybe there's some flexibility for you. I know several mothers have chosen carers that are very close to where they work so that they can pop over. This, of course, depends on the flexibility of your job, but consider it. Is it possible for you to leave your work to go help your baby, possibly breastfeed your baby? So this helps with breastfeeding as well. A lot of this is related to breastfeeding mums going back to work. Next is, one of the things parents often ask is, should I get my baby used to someone else putting them to sleep before they go to daycare? I normally say no, because babies are pretty smart. They're going to do one thing with you and other things with other people. And you'll see this especially as they get older too. Your children might not act the same with their mom and their dad, for example. So that's okay. So don't really worry about doing things differently at home. The one thing you might want to do is consider the possibility of your baby taking a pacifier. So sometimes babies want to suck on something to get to sleep. If it can't be the breast, it might be worth trying a pacifier with them. So that's something to consider. It could be used as an aid. Getting them used to falling asleep in a carrier, whether it's with mom or dad or grandma, even if they're not the ones taking care of your baby when they're on their own, that could be a good thing if your caregiver is happy to do that. So the last thing I would say is allow time for this transition. So if you are able to say, try 1 day a week for a while, slowly work back into your own work schedule. So you want to plan ahead. Don't send your baby off to a new caregiver just 2 weeks before you need to get back to work. Make sure you allow plenty of time. A recent poll that I did suggested that some babies take up to 2 to 6 months to settle into their caregivers. So if you're going back to work in the new year, you want to be getting them into caregivers now. We need to be planning ahead and allowing just a time for your baby to get comfortable at the caregiver. So it's a really big, important part of it. The more safe and secure they feel with their caregiver, the more likely they are to drift off to sleep with them. So the last thing I want to say about this is, if you haven't yet started, don't make it a problem if it's not already a problem. Don't think ahead and decide that this is going to be difficult for your baby. You can do what you need to do and follow some of my suggestions to attempt to make it as smooth a transition as possible. But it's possible that it's going to go really well and it's all going to be fine. So don't spend your time worrying about something that might happen. Instead, make your good choices beforehand and then deal with the problems as they come. Hopefully you've allowed for plenty of transition time. And then if it's not going smoothly, you'll have some time to sort things out or even choose a new caregiver if it turns out that wasn't the best fit after all. So like I say, I would love to hear your feedback, your comments, your experiences, and what other questions do you have, perhaps around sending kids off to carers or daycares. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you on Friday for my live Q&A. That's at 11 o'clock New Zealand time. If you can't join me, you will be able to ask me questions ahead of time. Just private message me anytime. Happy to get your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I love having you joining me on Fridays, so I will see you there. Bye, everyone.